Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 26 of Takedown, and this one is titled Toby Fly High for the Haiku fans. You fell in behind him and followed as he made his way through the dense bushland, heading in the direction of the nest. How do you know where to go? You asked him as he stopped for a second and readjusted his course. I've been all over this level. I've a fair idea where it is, he said with a smile as he looked back at you. I see, you replied, nearly bumping into him as he stopped again, but looked up this time. Up, he pointed his finger to the sky. Is there a root system for us to climb? You asked as you looked around for one nearby. Not sure, but we can use a flying spell, Magata said. I'll have to use a fly spell and an invisible spell at the same time, but they will weaken each other unfortunately, he added. I'll check and see what the drawbacks are. He looked back in front of him and swiped his fingers down midair, opening up his menu and swiping through it, clicking on various things. What are you doing? You asked curiously as you walked up beside him and watched. I'm dragging the spells that we want to use into this cauldron to see what will happen when they're used together, he said, dragging the spell for invisibility and the spell for flying from the spells list into this new section of the menu to see the results. We just need flying power for maybe 3 minutes. He swiped and dragged items here and there. As he combined the two spells into the cauldron, a red information box popped up, and you read the details from behind him. Using flight and invisibility together cuts flying time to a maximum of 3 minutes, and the cloak of invisibility will be removed should you hit anything while flying, but once flying time has been used up, you will still remain invisible, the information read. Great, Magata said enthusiastically. 3 minutes is all we need. What if we don't make it to the nest by 3 minutes? You asked. Then we make a fall for it, Magata said brightly with a thumbs up, waiting for you to catch on. Get it? Because usually people say make a run for it, but we'd be falling, so we'd make a fall for it. You hummed with a nervous chuckle. I don't know how I feel about free falling to my in-game death. Just hold my hand, don't let go, Magata said cheerfully as he held his hand out to you. I swore to protect you. I won't go back on my promise. You smiled bashfully and took his hand, waiting for him to cast the two spells on you both. We only have 3 minutes, so let's go, he said brightly, as he finished casting the spells and then gripped your hand harder and shot up into the sky. You gasped audibly, but apart from that kept quiet, as the two of you shot up through the tree line and headed straight up towards the lowest floating island. The wind whipped your hair back as you squinted in the gale force headwinds to see where Magata was taking you, realising that there was what looked like a massive tree trunk growing up beside where you and Magata were flying. Your curious gaze followed it up to the low-lying clouds, and then beyond it as you and Magata burst through the cloud line and kept descending, going faster and faster with each passing second. Oh wow, you thought, as the tree just kept going up into the heavens. Its wide branches spread out among smaller floating islands that seemed to hang around it like suspended droplets of rain. As you looked back to where Magata was taking you, you saw a giant nest tucked into the fork of two branches, a very well-defined force field surrounding it. That's the nest! That's got to be it! You thought as you willed the two of you to get there in time. Suddenly a countdown started in your ear, ringing through your brain as the automated spell reminder spoke to you. Flight spell will be deactivated in 5 seconds. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. You looked up in a panic and saw that you were both approaching the nest quickly, but a very snappy calculation of time versus speed and distance told you that you wouldn't make it in time before the spell ran out, and you immediately started to stress. You held your breath as Magata threw his free hand out, willing the flying spell to carry you faster as the nest approached and the countdown continued. 2 seconds. 1 second. The flying spell has now been deactivated, the voice said in a very robotically unapologetic tone, just as Magata was reaching out to grab one of the sticks that was protruding from the side of the nest. You felt gravity start to take over, but Magata had managed to grab a good hold of the nest branch and clung to it for dear life as you dangled from his other hand. You okay? He whispered down to you. I'm about as good as I can be, hanging thousands of meters up in the sky from a hand, you whispered back, trying not to look down. Can you climb up? He whispered. I don't know, you whispered back, reaching up with your free hand and grabbing his wrist. I'll help you, he urged in a soft voice, pulling you up a bit by his hand and tucking his legs under your armpits and doing a crunch in midair to bring your body up to his. You let go of his hand and trusted his legs around your torso as you reached for his arm that was holding onto the branch in the nest and grabbed on. "Now stand on my legs and pull yourself up onto the side of the nest," Magata whispered, letting his legs down, then placing his thighs under your feet and doing another low abdominal crunch to help you boost up so that you could grab the side of the nest using the sticks as stepping stones. How flippin' strong is this guy? He just did a crunch with pretty much my whole body weight on his legs and did it like it was nothing. You looked back just in time to see him easily pull himself up with one arm and climb up in through the sticks to follow you up to the top of the nest. Dang, Mirio. Anyway, we're going to see what happens in chapter 27. See you tomorrow.